Welcome to Low-Carb Movie Plots, where we break down your favorite movie's plot into a three-act structure: the setup, the confrontation, and the conclusion. I'm your host, Kazerk, and today we're covering Weekend at Bernie's. Weekend at Bernie's is a 1989 American film directed by Ted Kotcheff and written by Robert Klane. It grossed $30 million on a $15 million budget. The film's success inspired a sequel, Weekend at Bernie's 2, in 1993. Now to the plot. Larry and Richard Parker are two low-level financial employees at an insurance corporation in New York City. While going over reports, Richard discovers a series of payments made for the same death. Richard and Larry take their findings to the CEO, Bernie Lomax, who commends them for discovering insurance fraud and invites them to his Hamptons Beach house for Labor Day weekend. Unbeknownst to Larry and Richard, Bernie's behind the fraud. Nervously meeting with his mob partner, Vito, Bernie asks to have Larry and Richard killed. However, after Bernie leaves, Vito decides Bernie has been attracting too much attention with his greed and his relationship with Vito's girlfriend, Tina, and orders that he be killed instead. Bernie arrives at the island before Larry and Richard and plans the murders with Polly, the hitman, on the phone, unaware that the conversation is being recorded on his answering machine. Bernie then plants cash and a fake confession note implicating Larry and Richard in the insurance fraud. Polly arrives and kills Bernie with a heroin overdose. When Larry and Richard arrive at Bernie's house, they are shocked to find Bernie's body. Before they can call the police, guests arrive for the party that Bernie used to host every weekend. To Larry and Richard's amazement, the guests are too engrossed in their partying to notice that he is dead. With the dopey grin on his face from the fatal injection and his sunglasses concealing his lifeless state. Fearing implication in Bernie's death and wanting to enjoy the luxury of the house for the weekend, Larry proposes that he and Richard maintain the illusion that Bernie is still alive, a notion that Richard finds absurd. Only the arrival of Richard's office crush, Gwen Saunders, a summer intern for the company, convinces him to go along with Larry's plan. Later that night, Tina arrives at the house and has Larry and Richard direct her to Bernie. There, she also fails to realize he's dead. At the moment, Marty, one of Vito's mobsters, witnesses the two of them apparently making love. Fooled into thinking Bernie's assassination failed, he notifies Vito. The next morning, Richard is appalled to discover Larry furthering the illusion of Bernie being alive and manipulating his body's limbs. Richard attempts to call the police, but instead activates a phone message detailing Bernie's plot against them. Unaware of the circumstances of Bernie's death, they mistakenly believe that they are still the targets of the mob hit and decide to use Bernie's corpse as a prop for protection. Richard and Larry make various attempts to leave the island. All attempts fail as they repeatedly misplace and recover Bernie's body. Finally, Larry and Richard are forced to return to Bernie's home. Meanwhile, Polly, unhinged by his apparent failure to kill Bernie, returns to the island. At the house, Gwen confronts Larry and Richard, who confess that Bernie has been dead since before their arrival. Polly then appears and opens fire at Bernie, then turns his attention on Larry, Richard, and Gwen. Chasing after the trio, Polly corners Larry, who clumsily manages to subdue him with a phone cord and a punch. The police eventually arrive and place Polly under arrest, taking him away in a straitjacket as he continues to insist that Bernie is still alive. Bernie is loaded into an ambulance. However, his gurney rolls away and topples off the boardwalk, dumping him onto the beach right behind Larry, Richard, and Gwen, who run away after noticing him. Eventually, a young boy comes along and starts scooping buckets of sand over the body, burying Bernie. That covers the three-act plot structure for Weekend at Bernie's. In case you missed it, in Act 1, the setup, we meet the two main characters, Larry and Richard, and they discover insurance fraud ran by Bernie and the mob, where Bernie is then killed by the mob. In Act 2, the confrontation, Larry and Richard discover Bernie's dead body and plot to kill them. In Act 3, the conclusion, they call the cops and knock out the hitman. A very simple plot, but intensely absurd. They don't make movies like they did in the 80s anymore. Imagine two guys taking a dead body to social events without anyone noticing. As you can assume, I really enjoyed this movie and I hope you did too. See you next time.